Hey, fourth graders. So today for your math video, I decided to do some extra practice in factoring the tens. So let me get right to my book. This is a super important skill, and I just want us to really be prepared for this and feel really comfortable with this. So yesterday in math, we were starting to look at this. This was Olivia, this was Olivia, and she wanted to tile the top of the table. So she was trying to find the area of this 20 by 30 rectangle, okay? She made, and we made, 10 by 10 squares to help us. So we really are factoring the tens. That's what we're really going to practice. So I want to go down here and I want us to look at number 5 together. Let me turn this to video. It comes in much cleaner. And what I want us to do when we see a large multiplication equation like this is not be frightened or worried by it, but know how we can factor it out, how we can break it up, right? We can draw pictures, but we can also just use the associative property. We're going to be using parentheses. That tells us to do whatever is within those parentheses first and together. So what we're going to do is let's start by factoring out our tens. If I'm looking at my first number, 20, how many groups of 10 is that? Well, I know that that's 2. 2 groups of 10 makes 20. Now I need to break up the next number, 30, into tens. How many groups of 10 is 30? 3, because 3 times 10 is 30. I'm going to highlight this equation, 20 times 30, because that is the equation we're breaking down right now. Okay, so now what we're going to do next, you can see that the tens have been put together. So now we're regrouping and we're keeping the tens together and the other numbers together. So now we're going to put those groups, 2 groups and 3 groups together, okay? Moving down to the next step, well, the parentheses for 10 times 10, we know 10 times 10 is 100. Now our job, we need to solve the groups. 2 times 3 is 6. Finally, now that I'm at my last step, 6 times 100 is 600. And this is how we use numbers, that's numerically. It's how we use the numbers to make equations to solving this equation. We did it here with the picture, and now we're showing it in numerical form, okay? So we're gonna do another one. I'm gonna get my spiral notebook, and feel free to practice it with us, okay? Excuse me. Here we go. Okay. I've labeled my journal already. Factor the tens. This is 10-7-20. That's today's date. Okay, let's give another one a try. How about if we do 40 times 30? Okay, I'm going to highlight this. This is the equation that we're going to factor and break apart. Okay, so our first job is to think of the tens that are in it. I'm going to start by making my parentheses, and I know each of these numbers is a factor of 10, okay? So I'm going to break it up. I'm trying to make it simpler for myself so that I'm not so thrown off by these very big numbers. And both are multiples of 10. Look at 40. How many groups of 10 to make 40? I hope you said 4. Looking at your next number, how many groups of 10 to make 30? I hope you said 3. Okay, the next step, so I'm going to draw like a little arrow because I think that's kind of helpful. Now, as we saw, we're going to group the tens together, right? Because they both have tens. And then we're going to use our parentheses and we're going to group the other numbers. Those are the groups. So I won't forget this. My other numbers are 4 times 3. Okay, we're moving down. Let's draw another little arrow. We're getting smaller and smaller. We're really going to condense this. I know 10 times 10, that's 100. I don't have to use parentheses anymore if I don't want to because it's only one number. So I'm going to leave it outside. I do have to bring the multiplication sign down. And now, oh, do you know what I did? Look at me. I solved it. This should have been a 3. I greatly apologize. We'll be doing one more. I solved it and put a 12. 4 times 3 should be 12. Remember, those were our other numbers that we were supposed to put in there. I greatly apologize. All right, so this is my final equation that I get to solve. I can draw one final arrow. This tells me 12 groups of 100 is 1200, or we say 1200. And that's how we're going to take this large equation, a 2 by 2 multiplication, and factor out the tens and break it down until we find the product. I'm going to put a box around this. This is the answer. Okay, let's try one more together. I want you to feel really comfortable with these so that I could throw a big number at you and you could go ahead and solve that. Okay? Here's a second one. I'm going to draw a line. And I hope that you're writing these down to try them. It's good even if you're jumping ahead of me. That's wonderful. Okay, let's give 70 times 60 a try. Oh my, that is a big equation. I'm going to start by highlighting it because that's what I'm going to focus on. Okay, remember, we are factoring the tens. So that means we're pulling out the tens. We know these numbers are made of tens, right? They are multiples of 10. So let's do it. We'll use those parentheses. That's the associative property. Okay, there are 2 of them. That's why I'm doing the 2 sets of parentheses. And I'm going to start with my first number. I know that I'm factoring out the tens, so I can automatically put 10 down. And I'm thinking, how many groups of 10 is 70? I hope you said 7. Moving into my second number, I'm factoring out the tens, so I'll write a 10 already. How many groups of 10 are in 60? I hope you said 6. Okay? 7 groups of 10 times 6 groups of 10. Moving down, let's draw a little arrow. That's going to also tell me to move my multiplication sign down. I'm going to put the tens together. Okay, that's the next step. Put the 2 tens together. And in my other set of parentheses, I'm going to put the other 2 numbers. Those are the groups. I won't put the answer this time. 7 times 6. Okay? We're moving down. We're getting it smaller. I'll draw an arrow. That's going to tell me to bring my multiplication sign down. I'll do my 10 times 10 first because I've been doing it for a while now. I know 10 times 10 is 100. And I'll show you, you can put it in parentheses if you want to. And then I'll look at my next group, 7 times 6. That is 42. This is why fast facts come in handy, right? In 3rd grade, we were telling you just memorize those facts. All right, one final arrow that's going to give us the answer. This reads 42 groups of 100. That means I have 4,200 or 4,200. And that, my friends, is the answer. Okay, 4,200s, which breaks down another way to say it, 4,200. All right. I hope that you can see how factoring the tens out of larger numbers can help make solving these a little bit easier. Okay, I'm going to show you your homework. You grab our workbook. Remember, you guys should be working out of this one. It's your thin homework and remembering book. Show you. Looks like this. Homework and remembering. Today, we're going to be working on page 31. So if you would like to work on that with me right now, this is your assignment for independent math, so you could get ahead. I want to show you and talk to you about this homework side. You're going to do pages 31 and 32. 32 is always the remembering, it's review. Okay, so the first part, it asks you to solve each problem. There's different missing parts. I'm going to let you work those out. I believe you can solve those. Okay, here's the next part for number 3. This is the one that I want to start and work with you a little bit. It asks us to divide the 30 by 40 rectangle into 10 by 10 squares of 100 to help find the area. So this is a 30 by 40 rectangle. Let's highlight that to start with. And we're going to divide it into 10 by 10 squares. We did this yesterday, and we're trying to find the area. Remember the measurement inside. So if I was to label this rectangle straight away, I would call this a 30 by 40. That's it, right? But my directions want me to divide it because it's going to help me find the area, because 30 times 40 is really big. So let's make 10 by 10 squares. I'm going to tip this a little bit. Remember that these dots can help us, okay? So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. This is now a 10 by 10. So if I was to label this smaller rectangle, now I can label this 10 by 10. I know inside this means 10 times 10, and that gives the area of 100 for this smaller rectangle, right? So let's highlight these. Okay, we are going to continue to make 10 by 10 squares of 100, that's the area, until we cover this whole 30 by 40 rectangle, and then you're going to figure out what the area is. So I'll do one more with you just so you can see what you're going to do. Remember the dots, they go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll draw up. It's easy once you've started because you can already see that. The other space. Okay, I have another 10 by 10. So I can label this 10. I can use this outside line mark as a 10 also. This is a 10 by 10. That means 10 times 10 is how I find the area. And I know that makes 100, okay? All right, you guys are gonna continue dividing and then you'll end up counting this out. You will find the area of this rectangle. That's part of your work this morning, okay? Down below, you're gonna get to practice factoring the tens. That's what we just did together in our spiral notebooks, okay? This is what we did. These are factoring the tens, all the steps down to the area, okay? So you're gonna get to try it on your own, and then you're gonna do the back side as well today. This should be a review, that's why it's called remembering. So you're gonna be practicing place value, which is still very important for us as we're moving into large multiplication equations. So read each section, right? Thousands and hundreds for each number, okay? Good place value practice. Read and write each number in expanded form. Remember, that's like bubble gum. Stretch it out. Stretch it out. Down below, the directions. Remember, each section is a different direction. Find the area of a rectangle that's already labeled for you. So this is a 4x6 rectangle. This one is a 90x2 rectangle. So you're finding the area for these, okay? And then you have a stretch your thinking. Remember my rule, do not leave this blank. Give it a try. Use this space to work in if you need to. Use a scratch piece of paper. Try it. You will not learn if you don't try it, okay? And we will be continuing for 2.3 as we meet together for math. All right, fourth graders, have fun.